Hi, Anastasia. This is Uncle Kevin. Hi. I may be gotta get down a little bit, but Anastasia, this is a map. Can you say map? M-A-P. Map. Map. And I want to show you some things. This is a map of what's called the United States of America. By the way, I want to give credos in appreciation for Auntie Choo Choo, who mailed and bought this map for us so we can share this, okay? And this explains where we are. We're not in the computer. I'm not in the computer. I'm going to show you where I am in a second, but first I got to show you where you are. See this state right here? This is called Michigan. Michigan. This is where you are. See, it's shaped like a hand. See, it's shaped like a hand. And you live right here. And that's called Imlay City, Michigan. It's near Lapeer, in Port Huron, in Flint. Mima and Peepa live right here in West Bloomfield, Michigan, in the summer. So you live right here in Michigan. That's a state shaped like a hand. These are lakes. Look at, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Great Lakes. So those are 5 Great Lakes. And you live in Michigan right here in Imlay City. That's where you live on the map. Okay? Mima and Peepa live right down here in the summer. But in the winter, they go down and they live near Uncle Mike. You know Uncle Mike and Nikki? You know them. So Uncle Mike and Nikki, they live near Uncle Mike and Nikki right here on Siesta Key, Sarasota, in Florida. See Florida? Florida's covered by water. That's Atlantic Ocean. That's the Gulf of Mexico. So that's Florida, and Nikki lives down there. And that's why when you live up here and you go visit them, you gotta fly. You gotta fly, because see, it's a long way. See how far? Now in the summertime when you visit Mima and Peepa, you only live that far, so you can drive a car. But to visit Mima and Peepa in Florida, and Nikki and Mike, Uncle Mike, you like Nikki too, don't you? So that's where they live, right there. Now, you want to learn where Molly lives? I'll show you where Molly and Jenny and Alex and Patrick live, but I know you like Molly. So they live in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. See, that's Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Look at it. Now, the further north, this is north, up. Up is north, down is south. So they live north. That means it's cold. Cold there. You like cold? Brr, it's cold in Grand Rapids, and that's called Minnesota. See, you live in Michigan. They live in Minnesota. Mima and Peepa and Uncle Mike are in Florida right now. So that's Michigan, Minnesota, Florida. Now guess where Uncle Kevin, Auntie Choo Choo, and Auntie Di live? You want to guess? We live way over here in California. Can you say California? That's a big word. Cali means hot, fornia means oven, so it means hot oven. And we live right down here, which is called Los Angeles. That means the angels. So Auntie Choo Choo, Uncle Kevin, and I live right there. Now Di lives down here in San Diego. So Auntie Choo Choo and I live right here. Auntie Di lives here. And this is the Pacific Ocean. See, that's water. That's water. That's a big water. So you live near lakes. Lakes. These are oceans, and this is the Gulf of Mexico. So if you're going to visit me, see, it's hard to drive a car all this way. Well, that's a long way. So you take a plane. You take a plane, see? So this is the map of the United States of America. And Auntie Choo Choo sent this to me. Isn't that pretty? It's a beautiful, looks good on my wall. And there are 50 states. Alaska, Hawaii. Alaska's cold because Alaska's way up north. Hawaii's warm because that's south and down. So look at this, how big Texas is here. That's one of the best, probably the big, well, Alaska's the biggest state, but that's one of the bigger states. California's a big state. That's a big state. So Florida is down south, though it's warm. We've got a lot of beaches, and that's where you go play with Nikki on Siesta Key. And again, you live in Michigan, in Imlay City, right here. It's kind of up in the thumb. We call it the gateway to the thumb, right there. The gateway to the thumb. Okay? So anyway, I'm not really in the computer. I'm here. You're here. Mima and Peepa are there. Molly is way up here. I think you should go visit Molly. You have to fly there though. But it's cold. You got to bring your jacket. You got to bring your gloves. But you go sledding and skiing, and it's nice there in the summer too. So, okay, Anna, if you have any questions, let me know, and I might show you some smaller maps, okay? And that's the map of the United States. Okay, let's see how that turned out. Okay, Anastasia, that's Michigan right there. That's a closer look, and I want to see where you live. You live in Imlay City right here, and Mima and Peepa live a little south down here in West Bloomfield, Michigan. So that's Michigan right there. Now you notice how Michigan is surrounded by the Great Lakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are lakes. These are oceans. Oceans are big. Lakes are big, but they're not as big as oceans. So that's Michigan, okay? That's where you live. It's shaped like a hand. See? It's shaped like a hand. Okay, Anastasia. That's Florida. That's Florida. That's the state of Florida. Florida. That's where Mima and Peepa live, and that's where Nikki in the winter, and Uncle Mike, Auntie Belinda, and Nikki live here. And they live right here in Sarasota, Siesta Key. That's where they live. So that's the state of Florida. That's the Atlantic Ocean. That's the Gulf of Mexico. So that's the state of Florida. Okay? So it's Nikki, Mima, and Peepa in the winter. Okay, that's Florida. Okay, Anastasia, this is Minnesota. This is Minnesota. It's kind of a reddish color. That's Minnesota. And Molly lives here in Minnesota. That's the state of Minnesota. It's a big word, isn't it? Minnesota. And they live in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, right here, way up north. This is Canada up here, Canada. This is the United States. That's Canada, and that's the United States. They almost live near Canada. They almost live in Canada. So what you want to do is note that that's where Molly lives, because you want to visit her one day. That's where Auntie Jen lives, Uncle Nate, Alex and Patrick. So that's Minnesota. That's a hard one. I'd like to hear you say that, Minnesota, but that's a hard word. If you can say Minnesota, though, I think that'd be good. So that's Minnesota. Okay, do you remember what state this is, Anastasia? This is where Uncle Kevin, Auntie Di, and Auntie Choo Choo live. This is California. California, and that's the Pacific Ocean. Look how big that state is. That's a big state. Auntie Choo Choo and I live right near Los Angeles, right here. That means the City of Angels. That's Los Angeles. Now, Auntie Di lives in San Diego. Now, down here is Mexico. This is Mexico. That's another country. This is the United States. And down here is Mexico. So, Auntie Di, Uncle Kevin, and Auntie Choo Choo live right near each other here. That's why Auntie Choo Choo and Uncle Kevin, we do a lot together. So anyway, that's the United States, or that's California. Okay? So Anastasia, this is the map of the United States. Now look what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus in from here. we're going to focus in, and there's Michigan where you live, and you live in, remember, you live in the thumb. You live in the thumb. So to go down to where Grandma and Grandpa, Mima and Peepa live, and Mike, you got to go south. You got to go way down here to Florida. And that's Florida. That's where Uncle Mike, Nikki, and Mima and Peepa live in the winter. Okay, and you got the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico, all that water. See, that blue is water. You know, blue is the color of your eyes. So let's go back to Michigan. That's why you got to fly there. That's Michigan. There's Michigan. That's where you live. You live in the thumb. You live in Imlay City, Michigan. Now let's go to Minnesota. Not very far to Minnesota. We're just going to go a little way, and that's Minnesota. Now up high, and I'll come out here. Up high, way up here, is where Molly lives. That's where Molly lives. So Molly's not in the computer, and Nikki's not in the computer. That's where Molly lives, in Minnesota, way up there. So let's go back to Michigan. There's Michigan. That's where you live. Now let's go to California. Now to go to California, we got to go all the way here. And we have to back up a little bit because California is a big state, see? So that's where Auntie Choo Choo, Auntie Di, and Uncle Kevin live. But we live in Southern California, which is down. We live down. This is up, this is down. Up, down, down. So we live in Southern California, right down here. So if you ever want to visit us, it's a long way. See, it's a long way. Look how far from Michigan we are. That's why you have to fly, see? There's Michigan, and then to go from Michigan all the way down to Florida, look how far that is. Look how far. That's Florida. That's why you have to fly. Now, if you ever wanted to go visit Molly, you could probably drive, see? You could probably drive because Molly lives right there. Okay? So let's back up. Let's look at the whole map again. Isn't that a pretty map? That's from Auntie Choo Choo. Auntie Choo Choo got that for Uncle Kevin to give you a lesson. So we need to say thank you, Auntie Choo Choo. So that's the United States. And let's go over this one more time. This is California, where Uncle Kevin lives, and Auntie Choo Choo, and Auntie Di's down here. Molly lives up here with Auntie Jen. You live right here, and that's north of Detroit, Michigan, and then Mima and Peepa and Uncle Mike live down here in the winter. So that's the United States. There are 50 states, 50, and aren't they pretty colors? Well, thanks, Anastasia. I hope this was informative, and we'll get back with more geographical lessons in the future. Thanks.